Welcome back to The Deep Dive. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera, and we're from the C9 Podcast Show.
Today, we've set aside all other topics for a very specific high-stakes mission, and this is tailored exclusively for you, the Australian business owners and C-level executives listening in right now.
That's right. If you're a CEO, a COO, or a CTO, you are facing digital transformation deadlines that are probably moving faster than your current tech stack can even handle.
Right.
So this deep dive, it isn't about the latest tech trends. It's really about critical business intelligence. We're going to cut through the jargon of Headless CMS and API-First development.
All that technical stuff.
Exactly. And we'll deliver the actionable insights that affect your revenue and your risk profile for 2026.
The source material we've analyzed for this is a really comprehensive guide, and it's focused entirely on this digital shift for the Australian market. And its opening argument is, well, it's pretty blunt.
It is.
It says your website probably looked cutting edge back in 2022, but today it is quietly bleeding revenue.
That phrase, it just perfectly captures the silent urgency, doesn't it? Our mission is to show you precisely how that revenue is leaking through poor performance, lost agility, and compliance risk.
And provide the metrics.
And provide the proven metrics from companies who are already making this strategic leap.
Absolutely. This is actionable knowledge. So before we dive in, do yourself a favor and click that follow button right now.
And if you know a colleague who needs to understand the true cost of their legacy systems, please share this deep dive with them.
Okay, let's start exactly where the pain point lives. Every decision maker we talk to, they understand that traditional monolithic platforms, the tightly coupled systems like legacy Sitecore or older Drupal setups.
Even sprawling WordPress sites.
Exactly. They know they're frustrating. But what are the tangible financial and operational symptoms of keeping them around?
Well, the symptoms, they show up across three dimensions. You've got speed, agility, and a fundamental failure to support modern customer expectations.
Let's start with speed.
Because that is the silent killer. The benchmark for mobile users is it's unforgiving. Pages have to load in under 2.5 seconds.
That's it, 2.5 seconds.
That's it. If your system takes any longer, traffic abandonment just skyrockets.
And most of these monolithic systems, they consistently struggle to hit that mark, right? Because they're trying to render the content database and the visual front end all at the same time.
Precisely. They're stuck in this rigid deployment cycle, what developers call dependency hell. And this directly impacts agility. So when marketing needs to launch something simple, say a really high-stakes campaign landing page for Black Friday, it shouldn't take 8 to 12 weeks.
8 to 12 weeks.
But in these coupled environments, a simple change to the front-end design requires a full, complex, and very high-risk deployment of the entire back-end stack.
So the marketing team is consistently missing opportunities. They're reacting to competitors 3 months too late.
And this leads straight to the larger strategic failure.
Omnichannel.
Right. Think about your competitors, the major ASX-listed retailers and finance firms. They're already pushing content effortlessly across their website, their native app, in-store kiosks, even voice assistants.
All from one source.
All managed once. If your system can only just about serve a desktop website, you are functionally locked out of these crucial modern channels.
And this isn't just about internal frustration anymore. The source material we looked at highlights 2026 as a real tipping point because of external pressures.
That's the urgency that C-level needs to get. First, there's Google. By the first quarter of 2026, its core Web Vitals algorithm will tighten significantly.
Which means?
Which means Google won't just penalize slow sites. It'll increasingly reward sites that show superior user experience signals. Things like first input delay. A clean, decoupled front end makes hitting these signals reliable, not just an accident.
So it's not just losing traffic anymore, it's losing visibility, losing search rankings to competitors who have already decoupled.
Exactly. And the second pressure point is market-driven. Deloitte's 2025-2026 report stated that 68% of Australian enterprises plan to deliver full omnichannel customer experiences by 2027.
68%.
So if you're only starting your strategy now, you are already playing catch-up.
Let's talk raw numbers. The financial cost of inaction. The source estimates something like a 40 to 60% mobile traffic loss purely from bad load times.
It's huge. And when you factor in the hidden annual cost developer time, just fixing things, emergency maintenance, you're talking about $50,000 to maybe $500,000 in missed conversions and avoidable costs.
Wow.
And for an Australian executive, we have to layer on compliance risk. Under the tightening Privacy Act and the notifiable data breaches scheme, the complexity of monolithic systems is a massive liability.
How is it a liability?
They have this sprawling, interconnected data storage.
Hmm.
A vulnerability in one place can compromise the entire database. A clean API-first approach inherently reduces that attack surface. It makes auditing so much simpler.
That financial risk is one thing, but that compliance and data breach angle, that's a much heavier burden for any executive here. Which brings us to the solution. Decoupling.
Right.
Okay, we need to define this for the boardroom. For the C-level listener who has to brief their board, how do you take this intimidating, jargon-headless CMS API-First and make it sound like a strategic business tool?
We avoid the code completely. The core concept is really just separation of duties.
Okay.
Headless or decoupled means we remove the head, so the website display, the user interface, from the body, the content, and the data. They're two distinct machines operating independently.
So they're independent, but they still have to talk to each other securely.
In that communication, that's the API-first strategy. An API is essentially a high-security universal translator, instead of a giant system where a breach in one part compromises everything.
The whole thing goes down.
The API acts as a controlled entry point. It's a digital firewall. If the website goes down, the content system is still perfectly operational and secure.
So why haven't Australian companies always done this? Why is this only becoming the standard now?
Because legacy platforms were designed when the only head that mattered was the desktop web browser. Today, we have 10 heads apps, kiosks, voice, AR, you name it.
I see.
Modern technology, plus the need for speed, has forced this architectural change. It's no longer an option. It's a necessity if you want to scale.
Okay, so that's the technical foundation. What does this change deliver in terms of strategic flexibility for, say, a COO?
It delivers one source of truth, infinite delivery channels. The real value is the ability to pivot. You can decide to completely overhaul your website's look and feel tomorrow.
A full redesign.
A full redesign. A super fast new front end without ever touching the content management backend. You preserve your investment in content while enabling rapid innovation on the customer side.
So if a new technology stack comes out next year, let's say a framework for ultra-low latency mobile experiences, I don't have to rewrite everything. I just build a new front end and plug it in.
Exactly. You future-proof your investment. You prevent vendor lock-in, which is a key executive risk mitigation strategy.
The strategic benefit is clear, but let's shift to hard metrics. This is where it moves from theory to tangible ROI.
Yes, and we're dealing with transformation data reported by Australian clients who made this exact shift with C9 in 2024 and 2025.
Okay, let's break those figures down. Starting with performance, because speed equals money. What was the average leap?
On the legacy systems, we'd routinely see page load times between 4 and 8 seconds.
4 to 8.
After decoupling. Consistently less than 1 second.
Wow.
That sub-second performance is transformative. It doesn't just reduce abandonment, it builds instant credibility with the user.
And the increase in marketing agility sounds huge. Dropping the time to launch a new feature from 8 to 12 weeks down to, what, 3 to 10 days?
That's market responsiveness redefined. And this speed, it translates directly into conversion rates. We've seen mobile conversion rates baseline up by 25%, sometimes peaking as high as 42%.
Wait, hold on. Plus 42% sounds almost unbelievable. Is that purely from speed? Or are we baking in other UI/UX improvements there?
That is a great skeptical question, and one that C-levels should be asking. While a project often does involve modernizing the user interface, the primary driver is removing friction.
Ah, friction. Makes sense.
When pages load instantly, the user experience becomes seamless. The trust you establish with that speed, combined with removing load errors, it just dramatically improves the rate at which users complete profitable actions.
Reduced friction means reduced drop-off.
Got it. And what about internal efficiency? The tech budget savings. What's the reduction in effort for future changes?
For a large site redesign, a monolithic system might need anywhere from 600 to 1,200 developer hours.
A huge amount of time.
Post-decoupling, that effort drops to less than 80 hours. You're achieving a minimum 90% reduction in effort for significant changes.
So you're saying I can reallocate my entire development team from tedious maintenance, just keeping the lights on, to pure innovation, building new features that actually generate profit. That is the executive takeaway. You shift capital from fixing problems to creating value. And these aren't hypotheticals. These are measurable outcomes from real ASX-listed retailers, financial services, and healthcare enterprises right here in Australia.
The data is compelling, but then there's implementation, which introduces a lot of risk if you pick the wrong partner. What is this AI cowboy trap you hear about?
It's the temptation of cheap, fast promises. The solo freelancer or small, unstructured team offering instant results, probably based on AI-generated content.
And the risk is you get something that works, an MVP, but it's essentially disposable.
Exactly. 6 months later, you find out it's completely undocumented, the developer has vanished, and you're left with this exploding technical debt that costs more to fix than the original project.
So the temporary fix becomes a massive, expensive rescue project.
It does. Professional delivery, on the other hand, builds in quality controls. For instance, at C9, knowledge transfer is mandatory. We provide full as-built architectural diagrams.
So the client owns the code and the documentation from day one.
Yes, which mitigates that future risk.
Okay, so if an executive is vetting partners right now, what are the key differentiators that C9 offers that really mitigate risk?
It comes down to accountability, structure, and depth. First, the delivery model. C9 uses a blended approach.
Blended, what does that mean?
It means senior Australian architects, onshore managing strategy, quality control, the client relationship, combined with highly vetted offshore delivery talent.
So you get local accountability.
And strategy, alongside the best price point for execution. Second is resource depth. Most small agencies rely on one or two hero developers. If they get sick or leave, your project just stalls.
A single point of failure.
C9 maintains a full bench of specialists and backups, eliminating that risk. And third, contract structure. We recommend a 3 to 6 month commitment.
And why is that?
Because that time frame is where true long-term value happens. It ensures full ramp-up, peak velocity, and complete knowledge transfer. Paying for only 2 months is usually just paying for onboarding.
Let's address the elephant in the room, pricing. The source material warns that those glossy PDF quotes, $140K to $220K, are practically useless. Why?
Because they're built on guesswork. They estimate scope from one meeting, leading to massive gaps in understanding. That real-world example provided is common. A quote for $180,000 that ended up costing the client $295,000.
A 64% budget blowout.
It destroys internal confidence and ROI.
That failure to deliver certainty is what kills these projects. So what's the responsible, transparent solution?
It's the paid discovery phase. This is a dedicated, short engagement, 2 to 4 weeks, costing between $15,000 and $25,000.
Wait, so you're asking me to pay $25,000 before I even get a fixed price quote? Isn't that just a fancy consulting fee?
You should see it as insurance against that 64% budget blowout risk, and that entire fee is fully credited against the final project cost. During discovery, we document every single integration, every complex user journey, every compliance edge case. The deliverable isn't a vague estimate. It's a guaranteed fixed price proposal. You're paying for certainty, and you get that investment back.
That reframes the risk completely. And crucially, this fixed price proposal allows for staged gates, which ties back to the ROI conversation.
Absolutely. The project is designed so that stage 1 delivers measurable revenue, often in 8 to 12 weeks, which can then effectively self-fund stage 2 from the new profit.
De-risking the entire capital investment.
Exactly. Skipping discovery is the #1 reason custom software projects blow their budgets or just fail outright.
So if an executive listening is intrigued, what happens in that initial free C9 discovery call?
It's a 45-minute strategic session with a senior Australian architect. No sales pitch. They map your current pains, your tech stack, your 24-month business goals. You walk away with a 1-page decision matrix and a rough, high-level timeline.
Zero sales pressure.
Yeah, it's a valuable consultation focused purely on mapping out a solution.
So, to summarize our deep dive.
The winners in the Australian market in 2026 will not have the flashiest website. They will have lightning-fast, flexible, future-proof digital ecosystems that scale without drama or crippling technical debt. And that starts with decoupling.
And here's the final provocative thought we'll leave you with. Take a critical look at your current technology spend. How much of that capital is being spent annually in developer time just to fix problems and maintain your old system? And then think about what you could gain by investing that exact same capital in new feature development that drives new customer value. That shifting perspective is the catalyst.
And the necessary next step is to explore that shift with experts.
Book your free 45-minute discovery call with C9.
C9 is Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company focused on de-risking enterprise digital transformation. You can find them and secure your free consultation at www.c9.com.au.
Thank you for joining this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye from Lex and Vera from the C9 Podcast Show.